On January 5th, 2021, Variety published an article written by Dina LaPolte titled, "Rap Lyrics Now Admissible as Court Evidence, a Dangerous Precedent." In the article, Dina writes, "In a judicial opinion filed last month, the state of Maryland's highest court ruled that rap lyrics may be admitted in court as evidence of a defendant's guilt. This blatantly racist decision is a travesty that sets a dangerous precedent." So when I scrolled by that, I was like, wait, only rap lyrics? There's so many other genres of music. And then I thought, well, this feels like a direct shot at Black people. That's messed up. So I decided to pull together a couple of my homies and have a roundtable discussion about this. So today we have hit singer-songwriter Blush, family and marriage therapist Sarita Butler, entertainment lawyer Brandy Johnson, DJ and hip-hop historian Broadway, hit songwriter and producer Micah Powell, and we have hip-hop DX journalist Riley Wallace. We're going to discuss this law passed in Maryland and a whole lot more. Tune in.
It's just another sneaky way to use racial bias to convict us, right? And it's like they've been doing this in court forever. Like sometimes it's like, I used to like work for a criminal lawyer like whole like ancient times ago, right? And they would do things like, I remember in particular, it was like a murder case, like, and they were claiming some gang affiliation, and the case was in Inglewood. Like the shooting happened in Inglewood. It's being tried in Inglewood. All the defendants are Black, and they would do stuff like, we'll try to get the venue switched to like Torrance, right? Because obviously the jury pool in Torrance is going to be a lot different than jury pool in Inglewood. Mm-hmm. So that's like a tactic, right? To use basically like racism and racial bias to make it easier to convict people. And I feel like this falls right in line with that, of introducing sort of rap hip hop lyrics in these type of cases, because what they're really saying is, look at these people and what they do and who they are, you know?
There's no one to even challenge this. Like, you got to understand, man, this is a whole cycle of what they want to happen, man. So they need those kid bodies off the street inside of a prison to make a whole bunch of money. That's the first thing. That's why they're going to make it a law, because it's just like, yo, how can we put these niggas in jail, right? And they know this is the system of how they communicate with each other online, through the songs and all that. So guess what? It's another way to exterminate these kids, man. And now that we know that that's what that is, the second part is, who's going to do anything about it? Who's not scary enough to do something about it? You know what I'm saying? It got to be somebody in their age group that says, look, man, this is fucked up and we ain't going for it.
And I think that's why it's important for what I do. And being able to support young people that are getting record deals, that are now performing or whatever. It's like, let's heal you. Let's support you in working through your traumas so that you have more avenues than just putting it on wax or actually really doing it. Like, how do we, so to your point, Broadway, I think that it doesn't have to just be, it can be a lot of different people who have the courage. I think this roundtable is a courageous conversation that we're having, because all of us on this Zoom have a certain level of influence in our own rights. And so if you in the streets and you hitting them little niggas in the ear and being like, yo, I know y'all wild, but what the fuck is going on? If Tiff is sitting in a session or Blush is sitting in a session with them, it's like, how can we tell this story where you're not triggered by it? If Brandy is representing, is the entertainment lawyer, like, what can she tell them on the front end to help them understand and give them the insight and information on how this game really works, so that when they get to in the magazine, he's not trying to bait them and set them up.
Y'all gonna have to lace y'all boots up and come down here and talk to them. And it ain't gonna be a Zoom call. You're gonna have to really get in these kids' life, man. I don't think people really know the severity, how fucked up it is inside the hood.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? This is far more than what you're seeing on Instagram and Don Deep and all that. People, so right now, I'm chilling in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So, before I moved to LA at 17, you know what I mean? I've been here. I've been in the land, man. And real talk, man. I don't think people know how bad it is for kids out here. To really step outside and not know if it's today or tomorrow for you, that's a real reality for these kids out here. You smell me? So it's like, it's real gladiator style out here right now. So you're going to have to be able to come in between that because right now they not hearing nothing. You're talking about kids that got to go outside and hustle to have food because guess what? Mommy on crack over here. So I got to make sure little sis over here eat. So guess what? I don't have no summer program. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I might could rap a little bit, but guess what? Everybody got to eat right now. So guess what? It's kill or be killed out here. You're going to have to get in the land. You're going to have to be able to relocate these kids. You're talking about gangs that live centimeters away from each other. It's not like back in the day, you got to go to Brooklyn or the Bronx to punch this nigga in the face. Nah, it can happen going to the garbage can outside, real, B. So it's like, you know, in my eyes, man, you know, you got to get involved with them because already they not hearing no grown niggas. Already, in their mind, they got this shit figured out based on what they show, the images that are shown. So when they go on the gram, all these other rapping niggas are telling them, nah, throw your money in the bathtub and all that crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So now you see them doing it, man, it's a trickle down.
My practice, my being a therapist, I work with rappers. And so that then, based on their healing, their lyrical content becomes different, which then encourages the people under them to not have to rap about the same shit or be involved in the same shit. So it is a trickle down effect. And I hear your frustration about being in the trenches, but it is a top down approach. If we get those niggas that the little niggas look up to, and they start to figure
no more
out
niggas to look up to. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, everybody think it's a big homie left. All the big homies is not, they locked up. Ain't no big homies home. And when the big homies come home, they not respected no more. They not following none of the protocol. So it ain't no more big homies. That's what I'm saying. The approach got to be wild different. As far as it being discriminatory, it's very discriminatory. Okay, it's whack. It's
right now it's
whack.
state. Right now it's in Maryland. But the point to Sarita's point, all it does is set a precedent and inspire other states to be like, why don't we just adopt what Maryland did and do ... Let's just call the lawyer that did the blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But who's going to stop them?
It can be referred to in any state once it's on the books. And Brandy, that's out of my scope. But, you know, I would imagine that once there's a precedence that's set, any place can use it because it's already been set. Is that about how it goes, Brandy?
So I'm an entertainment lawyer. So I'm gonna do my best here. But
I'm a therapist, so you at least got a law degree.
A law degree that's old now, but so basically it becomes case law, right? So as you're making arguments in court, you are relying on case law and court opinions to basically reinforce those arguments.
So this could spread like wildfire in a matter of months.
Yeah.
And it could be a big problem for a lot.
And like I said, it's already being done though. Like they've been doing this for years. I mean, that's the hip hop police. I mean, this is like, it's now becoming super, super public because it was at the appellate level, but this is something that's been going on forever.
It's been going on.
I mean, I remember when Snoop was doing his murder trial at the very end, I think the prosecution, their closing argument was they played murder was the case, like in its entirety for some reason, to try to sway everybody, right? So it's just assassination of character.
I feel like where it gets a little bit more scary even is that I think now it's going beyond you being on trial, right? Like, and it goes toward like just them being able to build a case, right, against you based on your lyrics. And where that gets dangerous is like, if you look at Tekashi, like his trial, like he wasn't even really doing half the stuff he was rapping about, right? So it's like, that's where it gets real muddy, right?
But he sent people away in the lyrics for what he was saying, like real niggas from around the way. So
exactly.
It sent them away for a long time. So it still is potent as if he had did it, because it did send a couple people away for some, some years and all that.
Yeah.
So that's very
But the precedence becomes, though, if you look at somebody, maybe, I mean, Tekashi was around people doing that shit, but what if it was 100% fabricated? And he really wasn't gang related. He's not around gang related people.
Question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there could be kids that are 100% fake getting jammed up just trying to be cool.
Where are the educated guys of that generation that are going to step forward and say, based on what I know, what are we going to defend? And that's what you're going to need. You're going to need guys from the land, from the culture to go up and say, yo, we ain't going for it. We just expressing ourselves. Yeah, some niggas got killed, but some niggas got killed listening to Marilyn Manson and watching the Terminator movie, my nigga. There got to be some kids who understand what that is to say, if you don't have the education to do that, there ain't no way you're going to fight that. And that law going to get passed. Smell me? So it got to be a gladiator from their generation to say, yo, man, this is the way we rap, man. You know, sometimes some things happen, but we report the news from where we from.
I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that if they're gonna make this law, it should be about for all music. It should. But I don't know if I necessarily want to fight to get this law removed. I know what the fuck the music does to people. I know these kids talking about popping Xannies, and let's talk about going away from killing. Let's talk about the detriment they're doing to themselves. And it's like kids, you already like Juice WRLD, a prime example, man. I'm a kid on his way. I'm just giving an example. I'm just giving an example of my stance. Why I feel this way. I feel like some of that shit it could use some weeding out, like, but I don't want to sound like I'm out of touch. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to.
I don't think you sound out of touch. I just think it's a very thin line, because that's why I asked the questions. Because like, if you're actually doing these things and you're actually putting it in a song, you definitely need to get got. Because this is the message that you're sending, and this is the image that you're portraying and saying that it's cool. And a lot of the music, it's not just this generation. Future was saying a lot of dumb shit. And so were a lot of rappers.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, even in our generation, how many rappers were not talking about that? What is the root of the problem? Like, how do we solve the root?
The root is the genocide. You know, this is bigger than hip hop. Like, if we're gonna go to the rehabilitation, what it really is, it goes straight up to from the ground level. These kids are already born with 80 million disadvantages, let alone proper nutrition. We could go on and on and on. You understand what I'm saying? They're already born in the slum. They're already taught the ways of the slum. If you look at the way the slum is built, it's built like a prison so that you're conditioned for prison already. So if we want to talk about that, it already got to start from how we place stacked on top of each other. So the only thing we can do is know that we're in these fucked up conditions, and somebody got to be in that generation, like I'm saying, to say, yo, we got to read or they're going to fuck us.
But I also think when we take it in such a macro level, it feels overwhelming. And I think that if we're able to target little things and everyone take a space, then they say the best way to, which is a horrible analogy, but the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. I think that it's important for us to get out of to have knowledge of all the reasons that we're fucked, but also being able to pare it down so we feel like we can do something about it, because this ain't new. This is age old. This is the way we came here. We came to this country in chains. We came to this country on top of each other. So we know that.
And there needs to be a freedom fighter within them. They have to develop their own freedom fighters. They cannot come from any adults, because we're not them. It has to come from them. You understand what I'm saying? Just like when Calvin Butts and C. Dolores Tucker smashed the CDs on the ground, we had to say, somebody was like, what are y'all talking about? This is what we do. There had to be a meeting. And guess what? It had to be somebody educated from our generation to be able to meet with those adults and say, hey, we need to have some understanding because we beefing.
It's all about influence. And like Pandora, the box is already open. You know what I mean? And this shit, people, as long as people are going through this shit, they're going to be talking about it. But it's all about perspective. And if you can infect one little kid maybe he can infect another little kid. It's just all about influence, like you said with the elephant. That's really where it starts, because there are little kids in that generation like Corday who speaks very intelligent and who speaks about shit. We just got to make it cool to be a Corday. We got to make more Cordays. You know what I mean? We got to stop. And really what this all goes back to is white people, because white people,
that's what I was about to say.
They'd love to see us talk about drugs and detriment to ourselves. And they love that shit. They glorify, they eat that shit up.
Makes a lot of money.
And it's all they sign.
Like you said, they're signing these people that are portraying these messages, and the people who look like us in the offices are campaigning it. And they're behind it.
Say that again.
And a lot of them are signing them too. It's not just white people. Black people are signing these people too. A majority of Black people
100%. You're right.
We have to glorify. We have to glorify
the president, but we play into the money of it and the praise of it and the glory of it. And we keep signing the shit too, because I don't see them signing females who are talking about other shit. I don't see them signing artists who were talking about Corday. You know, he was an anomaly. That was something that came out of nowhere, and people really fucked with it.
Because he's the education.
You know,
he's the information.
You know, just like Chance. I mean, there are, but we're not eating that shit up.
Have y'all read that story about the John Gabana kid? Remember the kid that, and this is what's fucked up, because none of y'all know about it, but this kid was a super detriment to himself. He blew up off doing dumb shit on the internet, like running up
The Bunk died?
He passed away, yes.
Huh?
Bunk died?
No, he didn't pass away.
Oh.
No.
He got baptized, right?
The old him passed away, yeah. But
okay, wait, but I don't know the story, so I want to hear the story.
This was a kid that, like, he was getting exploited by companies because he got big off of doing dumb shit, like running up in donut shops and stealing a whole cart of donuts and running out, or just like slapping somebody and running, like stupid shit. And something happened to him in his life, like he almost lost his life. Went to jail. He kept getting caught up. Like, you got to read into his story. But he changed his name. He changed his image. He went on this whole thing, changed his whole page, his whole lifestyle changed around. And at first I thought it was like, oh man, he probably somebody got to him and touched him up a little bit. And now he want to change, but he'll be right back to it. But that was like over a year ago. He going harder. He just showed himself getting baptized in front of the world on all his followers. And I was like, that's crazy, because they don't glorify. You didn't see that. That's not.
I mean, I saw it. I just didn't know
like
that was
Hill and Tekashi. You know what I mean? But you got to be like really tapped in to like see some of this.
Yeah.
But they don't glorify that shit. They don't want to put that on the front page, because God forbid niggas start wanting to actually turn their life around. Then we don't got nothing to talk about on Shade Room no more, or all these other.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a reason I don't write certain songs. There's a reason I don't say certain things. There's a reason I won't. Some people don't look at music as a conduit. They look at it as a moneymaker. They look at it for self-serving reasons. They're not thinking about being a role model and the influence that they have. You know what I mean? Right. So, and there's always going to be artists like that, you know, and there's always going to be a balance between what people are actually feeding into, because it's not that they're just feeding us this shit. This shit is in demand.
But we also don't have a balance. I think you made a good point. You know, for a long time, we had balance. For every insert crazy ass lyrical rapper here, we had another, you know, Chuck D or Public Enemy, or we had something to balance it. And right now, where there's an oversaturation, but I think that we are looking at the wrong people. Back to everyone else's point, I think that we should really strongly take a look at record labels and record companies and start putting the pressure on their necks to be more responsible and accountable to the products and the messaging that they're highlighting. Because if they didn't have a medium, if these young niggas didn't have a medium that was able to spread around the world, it would be a lot more concentrated in one area. It may just be Chicago that we have to worry about, but because it's something that is spread in such a massive way, we now it's out of control and we're trying to get a handle on it. But those people get to count their money and go back to their mansions.
I have, like, people embellish, people tell stories. It's music, it's art.
100%.
This is affecting SoundCloud rappers and the little dudes that we don't know. The little dudes that we don't know that can't afford all of the things that a lit rapper can afford. And every one of them is not guilty, is all I'm saying.
I was gonna say the scary part about it is that, like, we're thinking really linear too. Like it's not direct evidence that you murdered a person, but more so that maybe you're unstable
character,
or
exactly.
that you're aggressive, right? Look at Shine, right? When they had Shine in trial, that was a big part of it, is they were fighting for the right to use his music in court. And that shit was so wildly unrelated to the case. Like, his album was already out. Like, there's no evidence in there. Like, he didn't rap about that exact situation. They just wanted to show that he's a real street guy. He's an asshole. And he probably did this based on his character that you can clearly hear in these songs. So I think that's where it becomes, even the Snoop thing, when they play Murder Was the Case, right? Like, it's just, they're just trying, it's like showing pictures of Trayvon Martin with middle fingers up being an asshole on Instagram, right? Like, it's wildly unrelated. They're just literally trying to assassinate their characters. So you're more likely to think this is not about that life.
There's so many different cases. I think it's just like to slap a law on it. I feel like it's harsh.
But it does put people in a situation where maybe when they're writing music, they have to stop and be like, could this be construed a certain way? Like, maybe I shouldn't say that. You know, maybe this makes me sound like I'm this type of person and I shouldn't do it. In the same way that I wouldn't go outside with a shirt that says, I fucking kill people, and walk around my block, because everybody would feel really uncomfortable.
Right.
Might call the police on me or something.
Yeah.
You know, and start putting two and two together and be like, there was a murder in this town, and this guy's got a shirt on saying that he murders people.
But that's what, so but
maybe I can connect a dot that generally wouldn't be connected. Or you start having, like, look at Melly, right? Like, people are going through his bar, even Vaughn. Like, people are trying to decipher how many people he killed based on, like, how many emojis he's putting in tweets, and they're listening to his lyrics and trying to pick out crimes, right? They're not even doing that from a legal perspective. They're just doing it as fans. They're obsessed with doing that kind of shit. So I think it's dangerous to put people in a situation where, like, if somebody really wants to get you on something, they'll just pour through your discography and look for something that they can, you know, understand to be an admission of something.
And that's
just to pull you in. That's scary. That's really scary.
Thank you guys for listening. DM us. I'd love to hear some feedback on what you guys think about this law that was passed in Maryland. Do you guys think that rap lyrics should be admissible in court? DM us at the100pod on Instagram. Also, before I go, I just want to say, I genuinely believe in artistic freedom and expression. I do not believe that everybody that writes crazy things in their lyrics are doing the crazy things that they write in their lyrics. I also believe that music is extremely influential. And so as creators, I think we should most definitely be mindful of our influence. It's our superpower.